Morning, everybody. My name is Jared O'Leary. I've been drumming since 1998, and I still got plenty of stuff to work on. Today, I'm practicing limb independence. I've gone through this entire book. It's called 50 Ways of Syncopation by Don Moyle. It's got 50 ways to work on limb independence. And then there's also this book, or a series rather, that's called New Breed 1 and 2 by Gary Chester that I also recommend if you're interested in getting into that. Now, in these practice streams, think of this like office hours. I'm here to practice stuff that I'm not good at yet. And sometimes people ask me questions. In the 500 plus live streams that I've done, there are timestamps in the description that shows what I was practicing or what kind of question I was answering. I will often answer the questions and then edit them after the stream and put them in this drumming tips playlist that has over 20 hours of drumming Q&A on a range of topics from simple things to very complicated or very advanced topics. For example, drumming tip number 100 is almost 15 minutes talking about whether or not it's worth it to get a doctorate in music education. I have one, so I feel qualified to answer that. But there's also a bunch of other ones that are simpler, like how to improve sight reading or why tenor drummers use French grip. If it says and other drumming tips or and other teaching tips, that means that there are more topics besides the first thing. So the first thing that I talk about is the title. So if you're not interested in that, check the timestamps. You might be interested in something else inside of that. Now, I am not good at limb independence yet. It's just something that I'm working on and have been working on for a while and having fun doing it. But I need Shia LaBeouf here to help motivate me to get better at working on limb independence. So Shia, help me out. Make sure it's not too loud. Here we go. Hello. Do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Early. Just do it. Need to work it with a metronome. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Wow, Shia LaBeouf, I'm super motivated. Thank you so much. One more flex for good luck. All right, everybody. Okay, so yesterday we had some friends come over. And almost all of them are musicians, so we were just kind of like jamming out. And this setup is like a hybrid setup, so I can just turn this knob here, and it just completely changes like the sound. But one of the last things that I was doing, this one, for fun, was just kind of playing one of the grooves I've actually demonstrated for limb independence. So it's this one, where you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But instead of doing it on the cymbal like that, actually. As I lose my stick, you got stuck. Anyways, so that was just something I was messing around with. That's why my kit sounds like that. It was fun. Let's switch it back to the normal one. There we go. The drum triggers, by the way, are what's causing that. Would I need to put myself help improving and not stay stuck? So if you go to the home tab on my YouTube channel, there's literally thousands of resources to help you with that. What I'd highly recommend doing is scroll down past all these play-alongs. Like, there's chop stuff. If you're a rudimental drummer, there's 91 videos inside of here. There's over 1,000 grid variations. There's so many you have to actually click to show all of the playlists on here. But scroll past like all these different play-alongs. Hello to you, Andrew. And go into the tips and lessons section. There's over 20 hours of me answering questions that people have asked on these live streams. And that's edited 20 hours inside of just this drumming tips playlist. But then there's also scripted lessons on a very specific topic. So for example, like how to hold traditional grip, or how to speed up any rudiment, or like the stretch and massage routine that I'm going to do here in like 5 minutes, etc. So the drumming lessons and the drumming tips that are towards the bottom of my channel's home tab will keep you busy for over 20 hours. But when I'm like talking about different stuff, I'm demonstrating a lot of the play alongs that are inside of the rest of the home tab in these different sections. So there's like grid, there's limb independence, there's marching bass drum, etc. But cool. Hello, Melody. Using all caps, eh? Okay, well, the first thing that I'm going to do to get warmed up here is I'm going to play 2 different patterns. So the patterns are pattern number 52 and 53. They're a little complicated, so give me a second to like demonstrate them. So the first pattern that I'm going to demonstrate is pattern number 52. So if you think of a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... But instead of playing it as 16th notes like this, I'm going to play as triplets. With hi-hat and 2 and 4. So it turns it into this weird like triplet that's like a straight pattern. While I'm going to play swung on the drums. I'm going to play 8th notes, swung on the snare. Anything longer than that will be swung on the bass drum. So I like lose my stick almost. That's pattern 52. The next one that I'm going to do is pattern 53. So pattern 53 is a Soca feel. So here's what the Soca feel sounds like as 16th notes. So we have buckets, 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 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. But instead of playing it as 16th notes, I'm going to play it as triplets. I'm going to go triplet, triplet, triplet. Like that. Okay, so again, while playing 8th notes swung and anything longer than that on there. What I'm going to do is play through the limb independence charts that are inside of the limb independence section inside of here. And I'm going to play it at 120 beats a minute, and it's going to be swung for the drums. So I'm going to go to the swung versions as opposed to the straight versions, okay? Every single one of these playlists in the limb independence section has towards the top of it this video, how to develop limb independence on the drum kit. And I've demonstrated this with 62 different variations in one stream that you can use in your practice if you're interested in it. But this shows you step by step what I recommend to be able to do it. It takes time, but if you follow those steps, you can also learn limb independence. I don't scream into the microphone, so that's not what this stream's about. I'm here to practice or to answer questions about drumming or teaching, but this is not like a childish... I'm trying to get a ton of attention kind of thing. I'm just here to get better. Actually, I think I played this one the other day. Let's do 46 through 50. I'm just picking a random set of charts on here so I can practice sight reading. In the timestamps of all these thousands of free play-alongs, you can go to whatever BPM you want. So I want to go at 120. So I'm going to click on the BPM for this, and then it's going to count off on my headphones. You can't hear it on your end, but it is there. Okie dokie. Here we go. It stopped. Cool. Try it again. Try it again. Do 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 do. Ready? And okay, so this is the first one. Actually, drumming has got a lot of like good starter grooves. I've got a lot of resources for limb independence, but not for specific grooves. The problem with learning grooves is you're learning... Sorry, it's hard to talk while reading this. The grooves hold you back, so you're like limited to what other people teach you, as opposed to what I'm doing right here, where I'm just reading music. And any one of these measures could be its own groove. I switched to pattern number 53, by the way. Here's a quarter note. I wouldn't start with something this complicated, but the limb independence video shows you some easier stuff. So I'll show you here in a minute, like what I'll elaborate on what I was just talking about. But the groove method is easier to teach from an instructor standpoint, but it holds you back as a student, and I'll show you why. Back to pattern 53. I got 2 more charts, by the way, and then I'll elaborate on the thing I was trying to explain while playing. 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. Back to pattern 53. This is the last chart. So what I'm doing right now is switching every chart. What I'm going to practice after I stretch and massage is switching every line to the ostinato pattern. A little late. Okay, so that felt fairly comfortable. What I was talking about is, like, if I were to just like teach you this as a groove, you would be able to like walk away successful and be like, yeah, I figured out that groove. But then what if like the bass player is playing something slightly different? What if the guitarist is playing something slightly different? And you sat there and you worked on that one groove and you're like, cool, I can play that one thing, but maybe this one sounds better. And that might be like easy for you to transition from the other one into that new one. But the problem is it doesn't teach you to think musically and to think about the musical application of like how to line up with what else the other musicians are playing. So I have a ton of method books over on a bookshelf over there that are like aligned to the idea of teaching you specific grooves. So they'll teach you all those basic things, like whether something simple like that or something more complicated, whatever, or entire solos, doesn't matter. I've gone through them, and I learned more from learning limb independence than I did learning any of those grooves or like trying to play through any of those solos, etc. It's not that there's not value in it. It's just for the type of music that I like to play and the way that I like to play and learn on the kit, I prefer to focus on the limb independent stuff because it opens up more musical possibilities than learning specific beats. There's tons of YouTube channels out there that are dedicated to, let me show you how to do this very basic thing. And I will teach some of those things as well. But what I prefer to teach is the limb independent stuff. Now, the way that I teach the limb... Oops, sorry. Stop. The way that I teach the limb independent stuff is doing what I was just doing. So like playing through a chart and having some kind of an ostinato pattern that stays the same and something that changes with the music that's on here. If I go to my home tab of YouTube and I scroll down to the limb independent section, every single one of these playlists has a video that links to how to develop limb independence on the kit. So for example, if we go into this like 8th note one, right here, this shows you step-by-step how to be able to develop limb independence right at the beginning of this. So there's a series of steps that you can use. The very first step is just like learning the basics of the ostinato you're going to do. So if you're going to play like a biome pattern, and this is the pattern that you're going to repeat, the ostinato is the thing that doesn't change. The thing that's going to change is me playing with my hand and making it so that when I play, I can play whatever I want with my left hand and nothing else is going to change for the three things going on. So the first step of learning limb independence is getting to the point where you can talk like I am right now, or being able to make it so that you can move your other limb, the independent limb, to be able to do different things. So like to be able to like sign your name in print or cursive, or to be able to like draw shapes, etc. That's the first step to be able to do. The next step to be able to do is actually to start going through permutations. So in step 2, what I demonstrate in here is permutating a single note. So the single note is on the first half and then on the second half, and then it shifts over to the and. So the and of 1, the and of 3. Then it shifts over again by an 8th note, so it's on 2 and 4. And then it shifts over again, so it's on the and of 2, the and of 4. Okay? Same thing with 2 notes, and then 3 notes, and eventually you get 4 notes. Once you can get those permutations down, then you can start getting into more musical applications of different short notes, different long notes. Like if I play a short note, I'm going to play it on the snare. Anything longer than 8th note, I'm going to play it on like a tom or a cymbal or whatever. Like there's many unique things that you can do. So the steps that it outlines in here is like using these different charts to be able to do that. So I highly recommend watching the video that talks about how to develop limb independence in each one of these limb independence playlists to be able to work on this. But to support with learning this, all these different timing exercises, whether it's 8th note, triplets, 16th notes, or even these timing transition ones, they have different variations. Sorry. They have like different variations of like 16th note timing exercises that you can work on. So I'm just going to go to a random one. Taps only grid, 1, 2, 4 accents. What you do is like play an ostinato pattern while you read through the different rhythms in here. So for example, and you play this pattern while doing that with like whatever limb is the independent limb or limbs. This is just one of many different variations inside of here that you can work on. So if you like work through these permutations, this will teach you different grooves that you can use while making it so that you can be responsive. So instead of just playing like one type of groove, if you go through these different permutations, like something that's, I don't know, even simpler. Like if you were to go through this one pattern right here, or this 2 pattern right here, like with your foot playing something while you're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're just going 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the first line without any repeats. And then you move into like something more complicated. This is just one of the many different type of permutations in here. This teaches you a near infinite number of different like beats that you can play, different grooves that you can play, and being able to go back and forth between them and be able to play them whenever you want to, for me, is more educationally valuable than me like sitting here and teaching you how to play one of these grooves. Even though one of these grooves might sound great, it's not going to work in every single musical context. And so instead of thinking of like what kind of a groove can I like force into the music that I'm playing, it's listening to the music that you are trying to accompany and perform with and going, what would be best in that moment right now? Should I add in more of the low sounds, the middle sounds, the high sounds? And how would each one of those work with whatever it is that you're trying to play along to? As opposed to, oh, I really like this beat, I'm going to find a way to crowbar it into whatever it is that I'm playing. Again, not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just a different way to teach and a different way to learn. And there's a reason why I have a whole limb independent section in here and not like a whole beat section in here. It's because I've created hundreds of resources to help with developing this thing that is harder to learn in the beginning, but will pay off more in the long run than learning specific beats. Like if you were to go through like just a few of these like 8th note or 16th note permutations while playing one ostinato pattern, you could learn like hundreds of different types of beats depending on what you're playing, the different ostinato patterns, as opposed to just like learning one or two. But that was my long rant on that. Anyways, let's stretch and massage now. Take your sticks, hold them in your palms facing up, pull in, push through. Oh, wee. It feels good. So this one stretches the sides of the forearms. Hold it as long as you need to, like 20 to 30 seconds, and then just go out the way that you came. If you do rotary motions, like Steven's grip or traditional grip, rotate and hold the one end to the extreme, then rotate and hold the other. I don't do those grips anymore, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I am going to stretch the underside of the forearm, so I'm just pulling back gently, helping stretch under here. I switched, by the way. Next, going to stretch the top side of the forearm. So could just turn it like this. You could do this one on the wall like a zombie. The higher you go, the deeper the stretch. Or if you do this on your legs, you can stay seated and do it twice as fast. Wow. Do, 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 do. And the final stretch is thumb to thumb. Ooh, that feels great. So doing one finger on the same finger on the other hand just makes it go twice as fast. Going to go through each one of the fingers. All 7 of them. And then I'll do a quick massage routine. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Middle finger. Woo! More ASMR. Enjoy. Today's ASMR drumming stream. Flam, 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 flam. Alright, so next up is a quick massage routine. So I'm going to do thumb on top, fingers underneath, just massaging up and down the forearm. And next, massaging the hand. So thumb is massaging the palm, fingers is massaging the back side of the hand. And then there's one more to do for each one of the fingers. And then we'll get into the grind that I'm working on today, which is trying to get it so that I can play those patterns that I warmed up with, but make it so that I can switch each line as opposed to each chart. So I want to be able to do every 4 bars on pattern number 52, and then every 4 bars on pattern number 53, and just keep switching back and forth between them, alternating. Now the last one I'm going to do is massage base the tip of each one of the fingers, just twice. Just a little wiggle, I can't speak, going down the fingers. Do 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 do. This finger's a little tight, so I'm doing it 4 times. Your anatomy is going to be different than my anatomy. And if this is your first time trying it, you might need to spend more time on it than I am. Cool. Now, if you want better camera angles and stuff for that stretch and massage routine that I went through, as well as some extra ones that I didn't demonstrate, go to the Home tab. Scroll all the way down past all these thousands of free play-alongs and go to the Tips and Lessons section. Again, this is where you'll find 20 hours of me responding to questions on these live streams. So there's over 100 videos in there. Lots of great questions from some fellow drummers and drumming educators. But then there's also the Drumming Lessons playlist. This one has scripted videos that I can better demonstrate things like tenor playing zones or flams or how to speed up a rudiment, or like what I was just going through, the stretch and massage routine that I just went through, but it's got better camera angles in here so you can see the different stretches from different angles, as well as some stuff that I did not demonstrate in these live streams. So check that out if you're interested in it. It's called This Hand Routine Saved My Drumming. But also check out this one, which talks about how to recover after drumming, especially if you are like myself, who did all days with a drum corps, where you're drumming 10, 12, 14 hours each day, every single day. You need to be able to recover after that because of the inflammation. But this one talks about like how to do that, some different ways you can recover after long practice sessions. Anyways, I'm going to go back to the limb independent section. And let me just kind of like demonstrate what I want to be able to do. So pattern number 53 is this 3/4 Soca feel. This is the quarter note. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to be able to go from that into this. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back into this one. They're both 3/4 patterns, and they're both straight, which is going to be played over swung drums. It's wacky. I can't do that yet. Hence why, I'm practicing. So the way that I've been working on this is by going through some different permutations and stuff in the limb independent section. And I started with just a snare, and then I added in the bass drum. And what I was doing is I was playing like one measure of one pattern. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just going through it like that, just going measure of one pattern, rest, measure of one pattern, rest. I then worked on it so that it was from here, straight into here, 2, 3, 4, into that one, okay? So it's like a 3-bar phrase, practicing it. What I want to try now is actually using some of these charts, and I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to practice being able to switch through them. So 6 through 10 sounds great. I'm going to go into the timestamps, 120, although I'm not going to use this yet. I'm going to turn on my metronome in my headphones. You won't be able to hear it, but it's there. Or at least it will be in a moment. Okay. So, here's 120. That's the quarter note. I want to be able to play this. 3, 4. What I want to do is when I get to the end here, I'm going to end with the hi-hat on 4 and not play the last 2 notes. Now the reason why is because this pattern, triplet, 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 it has that triplet into the downbeat. And I don't want to have 5 notes in a row when I'm switching from this pattern into the hi-hat pattern by going triplet into triplet. Okay, so I don't want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry. Hi-hat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can count, okay? I don't want that. So I'm going to have that little bit of a break there, hi-hat on 4, and then go right into... That's the plan, at least. Now, I want to practice just like this transition from pattern 53 for one line into pattern 52 for a line. So here we go. This is why we're practicing it. I messed up the hi-hat, and then I messed up the drum part. Let's try it again. Ready, and... Okay, I wanted to play that as a pickup. Interesting. Funky. So I left off the snare, but otherwise the hi-hat was better, the ride was better. But the ending right here, I need to be able to work on this transition from pattern 52 back into pattern 53. Let's try the next 2 lines, and again, I'll start with pattern 53. Okay. The ride was screwed up on the first like measure and a half. Yeah, let's do that. So I'll end on 4 with the hi-hat, and then I'll play the downbeat into it. Let me try those 2 lines again. So this is the interior 2. These 2 right here. The sandwich between the other pair. 2. My mouse keeps wiggling. No, I keep wanting to go ding, 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 ding. It's just like your standard ride. No, it's a 3/4 ride, not that. Stop it. Get some help. No! That's the ride pattern. Wanted to keep going. I had to restrain myself. Okay, let me try those 2 measures again, or 2 lines again. They're messing with me. Whenever you get to like a part that's stumping you, you can sit here and just like keep grinding out until it feels comfortable. Or sometimes it's better to just move on and then come back to it. You'll learn what you need in that moment after decades of, trial and error. There's no right or wrong answer to it though. Next one. Sorry. What I meant to say is those 2 again, but next attempt at playing it. 2, ready, and... What is my ride doing? Okay. So I started for context of this pickup measure and then went into it. It's that transition still giving me a hard time. There's a couple of different ways I could do it. I could like regress back to the way I was practicing it a couple of days ago. But I think I'm going to just actually move on and do like these 2 lines and just like see how this goes. So one of the ways that like when practicing this is just like as you go through these charts, it sounds like terrible on chart 1. And then the next chart, it sounds like a little bit better. And then the next chart, it sounds a little bit better. And then by time you get through like 10 charts, you're like, oh, I got this. And it feels comfortable. And then the next day you'll come back and will have regressed a little bit. And you'll be like, no, I'm terrible. But that's just kind of a normal part of the process with the way that like our brains myelinate over time. It takes a lot of time. You'll move forward, you'll take a little bit back. You'll move forward, you'll take a little bit back. But it's important to keep like doing it every day. Otherwise, you'll take a little step back and then you don't practice the next day. So you'll take another step back and then you don't practice the next day. So you take another step back and it just keeps regressing. And then it'll be like, well, I'm like 1 week later, I'm where I was when I started last week. And it's like, yeah, there was too much time where your brain was like, oh, this is not important. We don't need to know this thing. So it's really important to have that consistency, like where you're like working on stuff like every day, every other day, or like switches. So you're like working on technique one day, or limb independence the next day, and then technique, limb independence, and like keep alternating back and forth. But don't give it too much time, or it's just going to make it so that like you will regress too much and it'll feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over, because like cognitively speaking, you are like, your brain is just not developing because you're not pushing it to like be like, hey, this is important because I'm doing this every single day. It's like muscles. Like if you were to like work out once a month versus like every single day, which one do you think is going to give you better return on your investment and better results faster? Okay, so I'm on the last two. That's it. I was like, what was I playing? 1, 2, ready, and... Yeah, that was flawless. 1, 2, ready, and... Okay. Let me try doing this again. Well, I'll do the same chart. And what I'm going to do is, after I get to the end here, I'm just going to play like a couple of bars of the next pattern without like reading through it. 1, 2, ready, and... Okay. Okay, so I screwed up there because when I did that, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Oops. And I wanted to have that cut off on 4. It moved the chart forward when I went to press the switch to the overhead camera. That's not the chart I was just playing. Thanks, though. Appreciate you. If you press the number keys on like above your where you type on YouTube, if you press like 1, it'll go to the 10% marker of the video. If you press 5, it'll go to the 50% point in the video. So you can actually just jump through it. So that's what happened there. Okay, next 2 bars. And again, I'm going to do pattern 53, pattern 52. And when I get to here, I'm just going to loop a couple of bars of pattern 53 so I can get that transition without playing the drums. Ready, and... Screwed up the shup. Okay. That was better, at least. Let me try the next 2 bars. I almost started pattern 52. My bad. Okay. We did it. I'm debating if I want to like try actually playing through it, if I want to do another set of like another chart. Let's do another chart doing the same thing. So again, pattern 53, pattern 52, and then a couple of bars of pattern 53 without actually playing the drums. 2, ready, and... Yeah, I keep messing up the ride at the end. I keep adding in the 2 notes right here into the pickup. I don't want to do that. Nope. That's not it. Okay, let's try the next 2 bars. I screwed up the going back into pattern 53. Man, this is requiring like all my brain. If I, like I was a moment ago, start thinking about something else, I just like totally screw up. But I like it. It's like a forced flow state. It's like you're either going to do it and be in a flow state, or you're going to mess up because you weren't in a flow state. Okay, I hit it there. Yay! You want to be a touring session drummer? What should you focus on to get the most progress possible? Learn from as many people as we possibly can. And one way that you can do that is if you go to the Home tab on my YouTube channel. Scroll past all these play-alongs, but go here, the tips and lessons section. There's over 20 hours of me answering questions like this, as well as some scripted lessons that have like better camera angles, better graphics, etc. But these are from like the live streams where people have asked questions. And then these are like as good of a video as I can make on like how to speed up your drumming, etc. But if you learn from more people, that'll give you more different perspectives of things to practice as opposed to following one path, because there's many paths to do that. And the reason why I'm pointing you here is because I share things that I've learned from different people. Sometimes those things contradict each other. So I'll learn one thing from one person. They're like, hey, use more finger. And another person will be like, hey, use more wrist. And then in those drumming tips, I talk about, well, why do I do one? And then why do I do another? Or why do I never do one of them, etc. So having studied with literal like world champion like drummers and educators, etc., and paid a lot of money for that, this is the stuff that I learned from them and share for free. So the drumming tips and the drumming lessons has a ton of different videos. Some simple stuff like how to hold traditional grips or traditional grip, or more complicated stuff like whether or not it's worth it to get a doctorate in music education, etc. I have one for context, so that's what I recommend. Home tab. Scroll to the tips and lessons. But it's a good question. The problem is it's just not like one thing that can help you move forward, especially without seeing you play and knowing what your specific goals are. So if you check out that section, because there's over 20 hours of content in there, something in there is going to resonate with you and be like, oh, wow, I can work on that. And the nice thing is there's thousands of play-alongs on the Home tab that like you can practice to like help you out with like work on your flam speed or your roll speed or whatever it is that you want to work on. They're all organized into different sections. So just click on a header for like technique and it shows you all of the playlists under the technique section, etc. But good question. Okay, I think I'm on this pair of lines. So again, pattern 52, or sorry, pattern 53, which is the Soca 3/4, and then pattern 52, which is the ride 3/4. And then I'm going to play like a couple of bars of pattern 53 after that. That's the plan, at least. Okay, so that one was easier to be able to go into that. Because I didn't have like a pickup here. So like having that space, I could just play it on 4 and go back into 1. You took a glance yesterday, but you'll definitely... Yeah, happy to help you. You're welcome. But yeah, feel free to leave a question. I can point you to more resources. If you have a specific question, odds are I've got a video on it. And if I don't, I can make one, as long as I know what I'm talking about. There are sometimes when people will come in and ask a question, I'm like, I don't know. But this person might. You should ask them. Last 2 lines. Here we go. This is why I have to like flip my mouse upside down. Or it wiggles, and then I can't see the music. Let's try that again. 2, ready, and... Not quite. Yeah, the transition was a little funky here. Like the hi-hat was not on the correct spot. I hit wrong notes. Unsubscribe. Yep. Okay, I actually like this, and I feel like I'm making progress on it. So I'm going to do the next chart. 53, pattern 52, and then I'll play a couple measures of pattern 53 without moving on. And then maybe in a few minutes, I'll be able to actually try reading through these charts. We'll find out. So I got the transition, but it had the 5 notes in a row. I'd like to not do that. Let's try the next couple lines. I can read rhythm sometimes. Hook it on phonics, work it for me. 2, ready, and... I screwed up that transition again. This one's a funky chart. Each one of the charts has a different feel to it. I just completely read the wrong rhythms there. It's just one of those days. Let's try the next set of charts. 2, ready, and... Okay. That was better. Warmer. Let's try the next couple lines. Ready, and... Nope, that was not the right red pattern. Let's try those 2 lines again. Sort of. Last 2 lines. 1, 2, ready, and... I just did Oz open hi-hat. Not quite, Jared. You know what? I'm trying, Jared. I know you are. Okay, let's try the last chart this way, and then I'm gonna attempt to struggle bust my way through actually like reading through it. It might take me like 5 or 10 charts to be able to do it, but the goal is like when I have the play along like actually going, and I'm not just sitting here repeating it, it'll force me to like just jump back into it, which, you know, makes it harder, but it kind of like forces you to just like keep up. You can do it. Ganbatte. I did the 5 in a row. Oh, I got the ride pattern right, and then I screwed up the hi-hat. Okay, the last 2 lines. All of a sudden, I got like 3 messages pop up. You're a drummer too? Nice. Check out the home tab. There's literally thousands of free resources. Right now, I'm practicing something that I'm not good at yet. Hence why I'm practicing. Actually, let's try it with the chart. So I'm gonna go into the timestamps. And I'm gonna click 120, and then it's gonna count off on my headphones. And so I'm gonna switch between one 3/4 pattern into another 3/4 pattern every 4 bars. 1, 2, ready, and. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Into this one. 1, 2, 1, 2, That went better than I thought it would. Whenever I say that, I always completely screw up the next part. Stay tuned. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, so couple of oopsies, but was able to recover and be able to jump back on by like usually second measure. 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Oh, I totally just played the wrong ostinato. My bad. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. So that was probably the biggest mistake, was this going into that second to last line. But again, this is actually going better than I thought it would. Yay. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Woo-wee! A 1, 2, a 1, 2, ready, and... Oh, I forgot to switch. Yeah, I was like enjoying playing pattern 53 so much on this line that I just like kept going. Oops. Okay, cool. So that actually went better than I thought it would, but I want to reinforce it a little bit. So I'm gonna actually go back into the swung charts and play the next set, which would be 11 through 15. But I just wanted to... Interesting name. Show on the home tab. This is where I'm practicing the limb independent stuff. So just click on the header here, and this is where you can find this. But the other thing that I was talking about was the tips and lessons section that has the over 20 hours of tips in here, as well as some of the scripted lessons. Check that out. I've spent literally thousands of dollars learning those things, and now I'm sharing it to you for free. So enjoy it. Limb independent section. I'm going back into here, and I just did charts 6 through 10. I want to reinforce this, so I'm going to do 11 through 15. After I get through these, I'm then going to work on some double kick, and then I'm going to play through some Yakuza. So we're going to go to 120 beats a minute. Boop. Every 4 bars, I'm going to switch to a different 3/4 pattern. Both the ostinatos are a straight feel, while the drums are swung. Here's the quarter note. Okay, those are the 2 patterns. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... Oops. On the top line of each one of these charts, you can improvise if you want to. Play a solo. Play the ostinato, whatever you want to do. 1, 2, here we go. Much better. Yeah, so that transition into the third line of playing, woo, got a little wonky there. 1, 2, 1, 2, There's a fire. Do I need to get the fire extinguisher out? Here we go. Keep switching every 4 bars. 1, 2, ready, and... So again, if you're just running, this is a 3/4 Soca, a straight pattern. Going into this ride pattern, which is also a 3/4, but a different ride pattern than what I was just playing, and I'm switching every 4 bars. Yeah, so considering I started that a week ago, that's way further ahead than I thought it would be. Woot! Cool. So next limb independent stream, I'm going to keep working on that. But the next thing that I want to practice as I finish up here is my feet. So I have double bass pedal, and I want to work on it. I've never practiced it until really starting this year. So what I'm doing is heel down for a full rep, and then I'll do a rep with heel up. I want to be able to work on both techniques. What I tend to play is heel down, so it feels more comfortable. But I want to work on heel up for obvious reasons. I want to get better at it. So I'm scrolling down to the technique section. This is in my home tab. Thousands of free resources. In the technique section, I'm going to do the endurance and speed playlist. There's currently 70 videos just in this playlist, but there are many more playlists to work on technique-related things. Or if you click on other sections on the home tab, other stuff like chops, limb independence, whatever. But inside of here, endurance and speed, you can play these with your hands, or you can play them with your feet like I'm going to. So I'm scrolling down a good way, and I'm going to do chug with hertas. So this particular exercise, when playing through it, here's what it sounds like with the hands. So we have... What I eventually want to be able to do is have my feet be able to play it as fast as my hands. So I can... But I can't do that yet. So, about a month ago, I started practicing this, and it was a struggle bus starting at 60. But now, I'm going to start at 75, and it should feel and sound better than it did when I was starting at 60, like a month ago. Just little improvements each day. 2, and 1, and heel down for now. Okay, now heel up so I can work on this other technique. And 2, and da-da-da-da-da. Heel down. And 1, and 2, and... Heel up, and 2, and 1, and 2, and... Heel down, 2, and 1, and 2, and... Cool! Heel up. Again, this is going to be 20 clicks faster than I was able to do it about a month ago. Just doing this method. Just going 1 click at a time, slowly pushing myself. Heel up. Heel down. 2, and 2, and da 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 da. Do I take requests? No. So what you see with most drummers is they do like cover streams where they like are showing off like songs that they know, and soloing on top of it, improvising, etc. So that's actually against copyright laws. You're not supposed to do that. So what I do is these are like office hours. So I'm here to practice stuff I'm not good at. So for example, this is something I'm not good at yet. And then I answer questions. So I'm practicing using like the thousands of free resources that are on my channel's home tab. And then if people have questions about how to get better at drumming or how to get better at teaching, I answer those questions. And the Tips and Lessons has currently 29 videos for like scripted lessons on a very specific thing, and over 20 hours of me answering different questions that are from simple to more complicated stuff about either drumming or teaching. Because I've been drumming for almost 30 years, mostly rudimental and concert percussion, less than 1% of my time on drum kit. Most of these are related to like rudimental concert percussion questions and some drum kit ones. And because I've taught every grade, kindergarten through a doctoral student, I'll get questions about like how to get better at like teaching. And so I'll put those in the ones that say and other teaching tips. But there's over 100 videos of me answering questions like whether or not it's worth it to get a doctorate in music education, or like how to develop limb independence, etc. How do you do limb independence? So go to the home tab, scroll down to the limb independence section, and this is your one-stop shop for everything that you need to be able to do it. Any one of these playlists, if you just click on any one of these, it has a video right here, how to develop limb independence on the drum kit. And so this shows you step-by-step how to do it. It takes time, it takes effort. Like the thing that I was just practicing today was 2 different ostinato patterns that are both 3/4, and I was playing straight over swung. That took me quite some time to be able to play both of those patterns independently, and then what I was doing today was switching every 4 bars back and forth, and that took quite a bit of time to be able to do that. So if you follow these steps, you can eventually do more complicated stuff like that. But every one of the limb independence playlists has this video, how to develop limb independence on the kit. Nice. Yo, Jared, if you a super fast snare roll, I like. Oh, if I do a super fast snare roll? So the thing with the drum trigger that I have is it's not a very good one. So if you like listen to it, it allows me to like change the sound. So like whatever I want, which is cool. But it also makes it so that I don't annoy like everyone around me by playing on loud drums. But the problem with it is if you play like with double strokes, eventually it can't keep up. So it can't get all the notes that I can if I play like a roll on here. So that's one of the problems with this, is like You can't do that. But because these streams are like not me like showing off streams, this is literally me practicing stuff that I suck at. I don't really have to play fast on the kit. But tomorrow I'll do a technique stream where I'll be on a drum pad and refining the technique to drum faster. Anyways, yeah, so home tab is where you want to go to find all the limb independent stuff. And again, it's all organized into different sections on here. So like if you're a rudimental drummer like I am, there's a ton of grid variations. There's literally over 1,000 in here. Just click on the header and it shows you all the playlists. Every single one of these has timestamps in the description, so you can jump to whatever BPM you want. So for example, if you want to jump to 82 beats a minute, go into the timestamps here, and then it counts off. 2, 1, 2. That was weird. Weird hiccup. All right, let me try it. Heel up. 1 and 2. Nope. Back to heel down. 2. 1, 2. Back to heel up, which is the one that I have not practiced much of, as you can hear. But this is like getting beyond my limits, but I'm trying to train my legs to play a little bit faster. Heel down. 1, 2. Let's try heel up again. It's not gonna go good. It's like if I were to drum with like wet noodles for drumsticks. Heel down. Okay, my legs are dead. So again, like a month ago when I first started working on the double kick, playing at 60 was struggle, but now with like heel down at 89, it's like mostly okay. It sounds actually better than it did at 60 a month ago, but with heel up, it's still not good. So what I'm doing with this is like starting at a tempo where I'm comfortable at. Let's say it's like 50, whatever you want, and just going up one click at a time with this. And I'm switching between the heel down approach versus the heel up approach, so I can just keep working on going back and forth between those two different techniques while doing this. Eventually it gets to a point where one of those techniques, and then eventually both of those techniques, completely breaks down for me. But if I go up one click at a time, it just slowly pushes myself to get a little bit more comfortable with that I don't know, extreme of the technique where there's a control and whatnot. So let's say 65 is my maximum. If I start at 50, as slowly I'm going through this, it starts to like break down, get a little bit worse, a little bit worse. But when I sit here and push my hands, or in this case, my feet to play just a little bit faster, maybe only up to 68, then the next time I go through this, it's going to be like 5% better. And then the next time it'll be like 5% better. And it'll slowly take the BPM that you are comfortable with and shift it over time so that overall, all of it gets better. So like right now when I'm playing through this, this is, again, over 20 clicks faster than what I was just playing like a month ago while working on this. And it sounds more comfortable. And this process works not only with the feet, but also with the hands, which is what I originally have done this with. So the hands can play way better than the feet can, because turns out I've practiced those more than my feet. So I know what this process takes, but when I've taught students who have not done this before, they often feel lost and they're like, oh, I'm never going to be able to get better at it. I'm stuck at like 70 beats a minute and I can't play my hertas faster than that, or whatever it is that they're working on. It just takes time, and that little bit of pushing your hands to play a little faster, your feet to play a little bit faster, or your brain to think a little bit faster, or even a combination of all those different things combined. If you do this for just a little bit each day, you'll be able to make progress over time. If you want to be able to make more progress over time with like the different tips and things that I've learned about how to get better, my home tab of YouTube has literally over 20 hours of more tips like this on like what you can do to improve, and as well as some scripted lessons on specific stuff. So I highly recommend checking those out and then practicing using any of the thousands of free resources that are above it, again, in my home tab of YouTube. But I'm going to call it here, and I'm going to get ready to play through Yakuza Like a Dragon. I'm on the last 2 missions, I believe, in the game. So if you want to see the game from the beginning, if you go to the gaming section, scroll all the way down, this is the game that I'll be playing. But it'll probably take me 15 or 20 minutes to get set up, because I got to move everything. So stay tuned for that. Tomorrow, I'll be practicing on the drum pad, working on some technique. And then in 2 days, I'll be back on drum kit. So stay tuned for that. But if you enjoy these thousands of free resources, just share it with somebody else. If you don't enjoy these thousands of free resources, share it with an enemy. Goodbye. Okay, so I got a question. It was like literally after the stream ended. So, Josh, I don't know if you'll actually see this. It's a good question, so I wanted to take a moment to answer it. So, the question is, how quick do you think that you could really grow world-class chops? The answer is it depends on how much you're able to put into it. So, this is a complicated question with a complicated answer to it. It's kind of hard to figure out where I want to start with this, because it's so complicated. Let's say it takes from... Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called Outliers that popularized this idea of 10,000 hours being what it takes to be able to reach like expert level performance or whatever. That idea is based off of research by K. Anders Ericsson. K. Anders Ericsson found on average for a lot of domains, it takes around 10,000 hours to become like expert, really high class. But every domain is different. So for example, in some domains like wrestling, it was like 8,000 hours. In domains like chess and music, it's like over 20,000 hours. So it depends on what you're working on. Let's say, just for the sake of like keeping things simple, we'll say it takes 10,000 hours to get from like absolute beginner to like a world-class level in terms of your hands and whatnot. In order to get those 10,000 hours in, you have to be able to practice an extended period of time every single day consistently to be able to get better over time. The problem is there's diminishing returns when you are practicing too much. So when I was practicing 12 plus hours a day, like during my undergrad and stuff in the School of Music, or in all days, etc., hour 1 is going to feel very different than hour 12 in terms of like my ability to be able to focus mentally, or my hands just feeling relaxed. By hour 12, they're going to be very like inflamed from all of the inflammation from drumming too much. That can become a problem. So there's the diminishing returns with it, where when you get to like hour 4, it's not going to be as effective as hour 1. When you get to hour 10, it's not going to be as effective as hour 4. So every single hour that you add on to what you're doing with your practicing each day is going to have less and less returns on being able to be productive with it. So if you are super focused with what you do and very dedicated to, here's the thing that I need to work on today, and I'm going to work on this at the very beginning, you can make a lot more progress than if you just kind of like drum all day, even if it's like 12 hours a day. If you put an hour of focus effort on, I want to be able to work on this aspect of my technique or this specific thing with rhythmic accuracy on this very specific rudiment, whatever it's going to be. If you go into it with that kind of a mindset, that 10,000 hours is going to look very different in terms of how much you're going to get out of it. So some people say they practice all day, they never improve, while other people claim that they practice a lot less and they're able to get more done. It's because they're just more focused with it. It's not a talent thing. It's actually, there's not research on that. And I say that as somebody who taught a graduate level course on skill acquisition and expertise in a college of music. So like have read a lot of research on this, like literally decades of it. Talent is, quote unquote, is indistinguishable after 50 hours of somebody with, quote unquote, no talent. 50 hours of practice will set you apart from the people who think they have so-called natural ability and the people who think they so-called don't have natural ability. Literally just 50 hours of practice on a specific thing, indistinguishable between them. And that's based off of research across many different domains, not just music. So if you don't believe me, that's fine. But there's literally decades of research that supports the thing that I'm talking about. And again, I say this as somebody who taught this at the graduate level at the university. So it's not like I come into this and like, I'm smarter than you, so therefore I'm able to get better than you kind of a thing. Or the other way around. It's literally just how focused you are with your practicing. So if you could find ways to have a lot of very focused chunks of practicing throughout your day, that will make it so that you can get further ahead than somebody who only has one focused set of time practicing. So for example, I do these streams for about an hour. And in that hour, I'm able to get a good amount done with what I'm able to improve. But if I were to do this like 3 or 4 times a day, I'd be able to make more gains than just doing that 1 hour. So what some world-class performers will do, whether it's musicians or Olympic level athletes or whatever, is they will actually break their day down into different types of chunks. And so they'll have like 2 to 3 hours on a focused effort on something, and then they'll have a break. And then they'll have 2 to 3 hours of focus on something, and then they'll have another break. And then maybe they'll have like an hour focus on something, and then they're done for the rest of the day. That's like an extreme end of the case. They're not just sitting there going from 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m. and just like working nonstop on there. They're actually getting more sleep in than most people who do not perform at that level. So like Olympians on average have about 9+ hours of sleep, whereas like somebody like myself has 7, maybe 8 on a good day if I'm lucky to be able to do that. And the reason why is because they actually will break their day down into working on something, and then they'll take a break. Well, they'll actually take a nap. In that napping period or the sleeping period, that is where your brain kind of prunes things and it goes, this is important for us to be able to like develop more connections around. And this is stuff that we've only done a little bit of. We don't really need to worry about it. It was nice to know in that moment, but we can ignore that. If you think of that in relation to skills, the skills that you are developing and working on consistently every single day is a reinforcement of your brain saying, hey, that neural firing that I'm doing, that pattern over and over that I keep working on, that's an important thing. And because it keeps firing that same neurons, the same timing, etc., over and over, the brain's going to go, oh, that's important. We're going to do this thing called myelination, where it is going to strengthen those neural connections between the different axons and make it so that you are able to fire it with better precision and more efficiently. So it makes it so that you eventually get to a point where you don't have to think while doing it. So if I'm playing an ostinato pattern on the drum kit and I'm playing, I no longer have to think about what my right hand's doing versus my left foot on here or my right foot. All 3 of these are kind of operating independently where I'm able to have a conversation with you and make it feel like it's normal. But when I first started learning this pattern, I couldn't even do this and have a conversation with just 2 of my limbs, etc. The reason why I'm able to do that is because I practice it repeatedly each day and my brain went, oh, this is something that's important. That firing between those 3 different limbs in the same pattern, you keep doing this, so we basically need to like save this into our brain and go, this is something that's important. Let's make this something that we can do easily. And it eventually makes it so that it feels more and more comfortable. If I'd only done it like one time for like an hour and then never touched it again for like another month, the brain at night when you're sleeping, it's going to go, oh, this is interesting. We've done this before, but don't worry about it. We're not going to do it again for another month. We need to devote our resources towards something else. So when you are practicing, if you want to actually reach the world-class level and you want to do it within whatever period of time that you're going to do it within, you need to be able to be absurdly focused on the thing that you're doing. You need to be able to get quality feedback from people who are going to evaluate where you need to refine things and help guide you along the path of what you're going to be able to work on. And you need to be able to like analyze your own playing, because you're not always going to be like performing in front of other people or practicing in front of other people, to be able to figure out like what are the little baby steps that I can do to get better at this. I talk about this a lot in a lot of the other videos that I have in the drumming tips section on my channel's home tab. But if you are able to record yourself playing something 2 times through and then listen back to what are the consistent mistakes, what are the inconsistent mistakes, also what does it look like, what does it sound like, and what does it feel like when going through that. And if you can do that for each one of those like reps that you're going through that, and then analyze that and go, oh, this is the one thing that I need to focus on in my next hour of practicing, and actually do that thing, that'll put you significantly ahead of other people. So you could practice for like 10 hours a day and make less progress than somebody who does like 1 or 2 hours a day if they are doing all those things and all you're doing is just kind of like moving your hands with sticks in them. Like, it's night and day in terms of the type of practice you're doing. So if you want to learn more about it, K. Anders Ericsson talks about it in the term that he uses is called deliberate practice. So look up scholarship on that. There's like Harvard Business Review short papers that are like only a few pages long that talk about deliberate practice. That is the kind of practicing you want to be able to do when you are working on these things. So don't just like aimlessly play through something over and over and just like rep through it. Okay, so be very focused with it. But the answer to your question is it's going to take years. So if you want to actually get to the world-class level, don't measure in terms of like hours or days or even weeks. What you need to measure in terms of your overall progress over time is in months and ideally in years in terms of being able to get better at something. So it takes a lot of time, and you have to be able to see that growth over time, or you're going to lose motivation because of how many hours a day you're going to be spending to be able to try and like front load getting to that world-class level. You're going to make a lot of sacrifices in terms of like who you're spending time with or what you are doing. So like when I was like really trying to get good at performing, teaching, I was barely practicing, or I was barely playing any video games. I was barely hanging out with people. I was literally just in a practice room or in front of students just teaching. So I could just get those reps in and try and improve. And I was like, even with the teaching, like, what could I do to make this a better private lesson or a better like time in front of the band or in front of the drum line or whatever I was teaching in that moment? How can I get better as an educator? And I was actually going back and like listening to like recordings of myself going, oh, I could have explained that better here. Or, oh, I could have had them play through this exercise as opposed to this exercise. So it was very deliberate with the ways that I was trying to improve my teaching, my performing, etc. That allowed me to progress further ahead than other people who are not being deliberate with that. But it makes it so that you can get burned out because you're just grinding. So you got to find some ways to stay motivated with that. The home tab of YouTube has some videos that specifically talk about that. Let me actually show you here. So if you go to the home tab here, in the drumming tips, look for the videos that talk about burnout. To get some tips on how to do that. Sorry, my mouse is like stuck. There we go. So inside the drumming tips here, there's multiple different videos that talk about how to prevent burnout, especially when you're practicing too much. So like this one, drumming tip number 105. There's other ones that talk about some of the sacrifices that comes with like the progress. So look up some of those, but as just like a very quick summary of it, to be candid with you, like if you go to the /drum on my website, this is like where all the resources are. But if you go to /CV, this takes you to my public-facing curriculum vitae. The things that people see are like the results. So like I won the highest award possible in the field of music education for my dissertation. What you don't see is that it took me like 6 years to do that dissertation. And that's like working on it on Christmas morning. That's going in and being at the elementary school that I taught at like 5 a.m. so I could get a couple of hours uninterrupted time working on it. So like that was then coming home at night, working on the weekends, etc. Like you don't see those sacrifices that go into the time on the accomplishments that other people have, whether it's like the publications or like the 100+ presentations that I've done, whatever. All of these things come with sacrifice. And you need to know going into that whether or not it's worth it to compress that timeline. So if you are trying to get to a certain level and your timeline is very quick, know that that's going to come with an absurd amount of sacrifice. Like, you're literally not going to hang out with anybody. All you're going to do is practice. You're not going to play video games. You're not going to go on social media. All you're going to do is practice, etc. If you want to meet the timeline that you're setting for yourself for that. So you can achieve world-class level abilities as a performer, as an educator, in a compressed amount of time. But 10,000 hours is still 10,000 hours. Or in the case of musicians, it's literally over 20,000 hours. So if you want to do that, know that the sacrifices come with it, or just accept the fact that this is going to take longer than I'd ideally like, but I know in the long run that I can reach those numbers and be able to do that thing. So it's a great question, but there's, Josh, there's just a ton of nuances with it and a ton of things that I wish more people talked about, specifically in relation to the sacrifices. Like my CV, I have some friends who are also music educators, who are professors of music education, who are like jealous of the number of publications that I have or the number of presentations that I have. And they're like, man, I wish I could do that. And then I have to remind them, like, yeah, but you also have like a wife and like several kids. I have a wife who's also a type A person who like also works really hard. So when she's working on something, I go and work on something as well. And then we go, and when we're both hanging out together, we're hanging out together. So I don't have a child to take care of. Like, the amount of hours that I have in each day that I can dedicate towards doing these things is more than people who don't have those kinds of commitments. And so when I talk to them, like, politely try and remind them, like, what you're asking for is not possible with the amount of time that you have. You'd have to give up all these other things that you love about your life that you wouldn't want to try and live my life. So just know that, like, everybody's going to be different. So don't compare yourself to the progress that other people are making, because some people just, quite frankly, have more time that they're able to dedicate towards the goals that they have in the things that they want to improve, whether as a performer, as an educator, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. They're just able to fit in more hours in the day. So, like, because I don't have children, I was able to, like, work on the dissertation Christmas morning, and, like, nobody had an issue with that. Nobody had an issue with the 12 plus hours a day I'd spend practicing, because my wife was also doing things during those 12 hours. Like, it wasn't like I was having to make sacrifices there, whereas to the extent that, like, other people would. But hopefully that helps answer the question, or at least guides you towards a more nuanced understanding of it. It takes time, and it's a lot of time. And again, I say this as somebody who literally taught like a graduate level course on skill acquisition and expertise in relation to music education. There's no shortcuts to this. Everyone, no matter how good or bad you are, improves through practice. There's many ways that you can do that, and I talk about that in the drum section, specifically in the tips and lessons towards the bottom, how I've learned to practice and how I've taught other people to practice over the decades that I've been teaching kindergarten through doctoral students. So hopefully these help you out. But if you have like more follow-up questions that are specific that I don't already answer or don't have in like this Q&A with 20 plus hours, feel free to ask it either as a comment or on these live streams. But great question. And that was probably a much longer answer than you were expecting. But anyways, now I'm actually going to go and get ready for Yakuza. So stay tuned for that. Again, it'll take me like 15 or so minutes to be able to jump on that. But great questions today. Goodbye.